Back to work. Last night I was out in the barn. I was listening to a song written by a man named Don McLean about the death of Buddy Holly and Richie Valens and the Big Bopper. Right? And has of course, it has limerick notes in it from religious inventors. Right? Did you write the book of love, and do you believe in God above if the Bible tells you so? Right? And, can music save your immortal soul? And can you teach me to dance real slow? And I saw him dancing in the gym, and my clips for him as Satan read the books of, or Millen wrote the book of, read the book of Marx. We sing dirges in the park, And so it's very, song has a lot of emotional content from human invention as its construction of perception of religion to elicit emotions in people. Do you have faith in God above if a guy will tells you so? Well, in the Bible it says that God is not above. It says God's omniscient and omnipotent, right? So there's already a Roman limerick error in that perception of, why do people read the Bible and think that God is above? And a lot of that probably has to do with the circle of Genesis to Revelation and the stuff that's happening from above during the apocalypse, which is satellites, right? And satellite transmission of the Gospels and satellite manipulation of access to the Gospels and the actual truth of the Gospels, as opposed to the limericks to manipulate people with human invention, right? And that's most likely the case. That is, when you sit there and look at it, and it's not puzzling me. I'm just like, well, what did people not get about omniscience? And so you can't have God's omniscient and omnipotent, right? And there's a beginning, as far as Pascal explaining about eternal wretchedness, there's a beginning of time on planet Earth for the temple, for the soul, for the body, and then there's an end of time, right? Just like the body itself. Okay. There's the forming of the temple for the soul, and then the temple ashes to ashes, dust to dust, right? And so, but then yet there is, there'll be one child born to carry on, right? And so life is eternal and grace is infinite through holy covenants, through being fruitful and multiplying, just like discussed in the Bible, right? So there's good information in the Bible, but the invention of human perception of religion to manipulate others to feel powerful, to replace God with first-person possessive pronoun, has everybody very confused, and it shouldn't, right? Because it's not that hard. Okay? It's not that hard. That hell is human invention, okay, and heaven is not. Okay? What? What do you mean, Earl? Well, hell is obeying the natural laws provided by creation to share life through faithful love and holy covenants. That's heaven. That's an eternal way of, I am the way, the truth, and life. That's eternal, truthful way of living a faithful life through faithful loving one another. So that's not a human invention. That's what's given. Okay. For us to really appreciate life together. You'll get old and you'll die. Okay. Like the book of Malachi. But Malachi doesn't sit there and curse God and die. He says, I'm passing on this faith so we can continue to try to sustain a kingdom of heaven through faithful love, through holy covenants. He's that hopeful. He's wonderful. Malachi's beautiful. Right? Book of Malachi is one of my favorite books in the Bible because there's not a lot of drama. There's a man living in a heavenly state with people that understand it and want to continue it. But it does say in the book of Malachi, it's just the sad part is that, what happens with Jesus and what happens with Muhammad explained in the book of Malachi. Malachi knows when it gets to Malachi, they're going to take our Messiah and they're going to ritually sacrifice him and they're going to physically, torture him and kill him in front of everybody. And that, and that doesn't, in the Old Testament, that doesn't happen. Okay. In the Old Testament, it's the exact opposite. The Messiah proves the sky god wackadoodle people wrong beyond any reasonable doubts. They have to go, he's right. And we overcome that. It's with the Egyptians in Exodus, that was really hard, but he had to, publicly, he was so embarrassed, had to let us go. And then when we were out away from all his, his brain chemical addicted army, the 5,000 you could walk off a cliff, he goes and tries to kill us all because we're a threat to his goddom. Okay, Ramses is a complete fucking dick, like all your politicians and Uber billionaire ticks now. Okay, complete fucking dicks. Okay, I'm in that statement. Okay. There are some billionaire texts that do pray to Jesus and to connect to me to, I don't want to do this anymore. Okay. And they're not as arrogant and cocky as Rothschild and Rockefeller because they don't have the time and service. They come from, a lot of the billionaire texts now come from us. Okay. Thanks, Jenny. Thanks, Lauren. Okay, so, do you get it? Yeah. And so, I get these women. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. You're lumping them all together. You only have PWET judges. Thanks, Lauren. It's Sanchez, not Sanchez. Okay. Because no. Thanks. Thanks, baby girl. Stop crying. You're acting like Lopez. Shut up. She's really acting like Lopez. Boy, do you kiss your mother with that mouth? Okay, love you too. Oh, gosh. Yeah. I like my girls passionate, fiery too there, Jeffy. Okay. Where were we, guys? You interrupted me. I'm sitting here, and that was a good interruption. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't want to be a PWET. Okay. I love you too. No, you tell Jennifer I said hi. She's a pain in my ass. I'm ignoring her. Okay. She's not currently amusing me. Right? Okay. Why not? I don't know. I don't want to put her into any kind of position to where she feels obligated to try to help me recover from my abuse. It's pretty painful, and I don't want her to. I don't want anybody to feel it. I don't even. I tune Patrick out, and he's tough. You tune her? Yeah, a tough guy. Yeah, I get it from my mom. I'm sick. Leave me alone. Yeah, I know. I had a good night last night in the barn shooting hoops. Yeah, it was pretty good. I'll do it again today. Well, I'm thinking more, once I'm done here, I'm going to go out and do the work on the horseshoe pits, grab my shovel and get nauseous in the sun. Why not, man? You got to get the crap out. Well, Suzuki told me that. I got to go out and sun soak today. Once you start, you can't back off. When you start sun soaking, you're telling the body we're going out. It's almost like radiation treatment. You don't start. Well, no, I've changed my mind. You have to kind of go out and let the sun do its thing to help clean your body out. It's nauseating a lot sometimes. I have okay. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Lauren. Guys, okay. We're all different people. Okay, and we're still in a disgusting, kill zone of Halliburton fuckertards and others. Yeah, and they are. Okay. And no, that's not expressed. I'm not being a PWET. No, I'm being, okay, you understand my perspective? Okay, thanks. Jeff's like, this is not my opinion. Okay, there might be some people stuck in Halliburton, like Jeff, okay, I got you. I got you. Okay, thanks. I don't want to talk to Miss Ignoring Annoying. She's not amusing me right. No, we'll talk later in the future. I don't know when. ScanDisk can go fuck itself. I'm tired. The technology is getting better, so a lot of the old tech that they use, it just doesn't, the tech's getting better. I've always been perfect. You know me, I was born this way. Mercury and Leo, right? Where are we, guys? Okay. We got to, basically, the stuff that I'm talking about is basically, hell is a human invention. Okay. and then people will have them. The thing that attachment to life and to manipulate people to feel powerful is the invention of hell. Okay. Eventually, we know planet Earth is no longer going to exist, and we will no longer have the life of sacrifice. And I understand that, and I understand Jeff wanting to. I understand that. Okay. I'm understand the desire to want to continue it and find a new place to live if something happens here outside of our aspects of control. Because it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Like when you're born, you die. And I understand, it's like, if Vesuvius is going to go, if you get change of address forms, you go somewhere else to live, right? And I understand that, Jeff. Okay. Now, I understand the continuation to want to continue life of sacrifice and live and love and enjoy women and children and so forth. But cloning, fuck, women and children, holy covenants, bastards. Okay. And putting your brain on a robot, your brain sucks. Tell your brain it just needs to lay down and let the dirt shower over you. Okay, so thanks. That was a combo of us. Yeah, that expressed a lot. Those were also Jeff's opinions. Of a good assessment of understanding eternity without being a selfish jerk. Thank you, Jeff. I love you. Okay, this is good, dude. I feel Jeff Hinton. He's just not. He's very quiet. I like Jeff Hinton. There are a lot of people, you like Jeff Hinton, he doesn't like you. I don't know if Jeff doesn't like me. I think I frustrate Jeff the same way I did Stephen Hawking, but Jeff isn't quite as mad as Stephen Hawking because Jeff doesn't have the same health conditions. I have very bad health conditions because of jealous scientists, too, and he does too. Well, because he's obsessing and compulsive to compete, and it causes him health issues because of the stress. If you let go of that stress and share caregiving according to needs built to last, and then you have good relative forms of faithful communication, then your scientific projects are a lot easier to work in, and there's a lot less stress, and there's a lot more fun, and a lot more love. I love you too, Jeff. Well, both of you, Jeff, you both can take that one. Well, you know what I'm saying? Okay, right? Demis, stop laughing. That's funny. Oh, you can laugh, dude. I'm just being facetious. Oh, I'm not a tyrant. What do you think? I'm doing some kind of a scientific experiment, and I'm Stephen Hawking. I'm just kidding around. Nah, Hawking was a pain in my ass. Yeah, he really was. He was better than Ginsburg. I don't know about that. The whole thing. He tried to talk me into engaging in a relationship with the stepdaughter, and told me how unattractive my ex-wife was, and he's pissed me off with that one. It was he's playing devil's advocate for Rockefeller. I understand that, okay, but I understand that. Okay, never mind. Okay, people don't tell David Rockefeller no. Oh, okay, I get that. Okay. If he says do something and you're trying to do things for science to end this God delusion once and for all, okay, Dawkins is an asshole too. Yeah, he's an asshole. Well, when you're wrong, you should be able to admit you're wrong, and then listen to the person who's proved to you beyond any reasonable doubts that you're wrong and that he's more correct than you, and then understand why he's more correct than you, and then correct your wrong perceptions that are genocidal. And so when humility goes a long way, like Krishnamurti talked about a lot, and Tadahiro Suzuki, about humility, and Haile Selassie that too, all the men that are similar to me talked about the main reason they are genetically like they are is because of their humility and not because of their prowess or their greatness. Okay, the reason why they have a perception of prowess and greatness is because they were humble and they submitted to faith and infinite glory as opposed to trying to contain the universe with their mind. Because you can't do that because it keeps going. And that's the part that always had me was, no, you can't. It's, like I used to explain to my family, where you're going to keep it in a box and a table and a book. And so, Demis gets it. Thanks, Demis. Jeff's getting it too? Jeff, are you feeling okay? I don't worry about Bezos. Old Sanchez keeps him in line. I'm kidding, Lauren. Okay, keeps him in line. You need a woman around to sit there. And, women do that. They're excellent ego checkers. It's like you think you're right, and then just I'm ignoring you. You're annoying me. Yeah. But yeah, okay, so I understand. So that Hawking probably agreed with you more than you think. It was just he was terrified of him being killed and other people being killed from bitch fits from the rich. Uh, you guys gonna use the same one on Ginsburg? Because that woman drove me crazy. She thought the same thing. Because she thought that the uber wealthy, were using you as a killing machine as opposed to a peace. Oh, because she's stupid. Well, yeah, I get it. Okay. She's inventing laws. He signed Javille. Oh, I get it. I get it. So she was mad at me because of the way that she perceived the Rothschilds and Rockefellers using me. Okay. Did she ever think that maybe if she stood up for the Lord's Prayer and got other people to do it, that they wouldn't be able to do that? Then I would be free from being used by them? They don't think too good. Power, Lord. It's like, okay, what do you guys not get about your own fucking sin? I don't get it. I'm like sitting there going, no, it's insidious and it's totally insane. I was watching these things on these eco flows and these power stations, right? And you're sitting there watching and going, God, they all just joined together, okay, to make the best, like with Tesla doing this and they're the only ones that have it. It's like, well, then shouldn't everybody have it? If we're, okay, they're in competition. Why are you in competition? Is not good. No. Competition makes people cut corners. Okay, competition makes people do things that are cost effective. Competition makes people do things that it's got to be able to be in budget. No, it's got to work. It's got to share, care, give, and of course need built to last. Okay, it's got to work and it's got to be done right. And then people saying, I'm charging you this much money for that because it's rare. Okay, but if you build it right, that rarity will be sustained for people to have what they need to help each other out and make life better. Okay, so so you're a complete abomination to the resources that sustain your existence through faithful love. God dang, I do this all the time. It's like I'm having a, and it's like what? It's like thanks for connecting in prayer and meditation. I'm. Dimas, do you get told that too? A lot, that you act like a chick. I got that in the military all the time. Okay. The strongest, most brave man in the whole military, and you act like a chick. Well, then if I act like a chick, and most of it was because I was faithful to my fiance and didn't go to the club and screw around. And they said, you act like a chick. Hear that, King David? What do you mean? King David had a whole bunch of women because they all wanted to be with the same thing that happened with me in the military. Why can't he be you? Everybody was always hitting on me because they wanted the guy like King David and not the asshole at the bar who you act like a chick. You should act more like a chick. Yeah. Women that are beautiful and serious about a relationship with a faithful man appreciate that. Yes. I understand why. Okay. But you can't be all things to all people. But you can be faithful to your relationships. Okay. But if you see yourself as being all things to all people, you're unfaithful to your relationship with everybody and yourself. Right? This is good, guys. Thanks, man. Thanks. Dawkins still with us? I know a lot of you guys really Dawkins. Dawkins, there's, he has this, him and Harris and Hitchens was an ass. Hitchens was an ass. I don't care what you guys all say. Hitchens was an ass. Because the same thing, I think it was, back then there was like this wall between, a lot of that stuff happened, before. But they had Krishnamurti, they had Suzuki. It's not like their catalogs were like completely obliterated from the face of the planet. They could go watch Krishnamurti and go, okay, this guy makes a hellified lot more sense than a lot of the scientists he talks to, but they didn't. They saw themselves more as a scientist questioning what Krishnamurti was saying. It's like, why are you questioning what he's saying? Because it's not, Okay, He's listening to you, and then he's explaining you to you like he did with Houston Smith. And then Houston Smith got all butthurt and hated him. It's like, why? I don't think Houston Smith liked Detsiro Suzuki either. Because Suzuki would talk to him the same way in private, the way Krishnamurti talked publicly. Krishnamurti wasn't trying to challenge him or attack him. Krishnamurti was just explaining to him the trap of his economic existence because he cared about him. No, he wasn't trying to kick his ass. The other guy was trying to challenge Krishnamurti's prophecy and who he was, and and this bullshit that these people do about these religions is the way that Smith saw a lot of religions. He chose, what he thought was the best religious path, and then he tried to go, all namaste, and he was kind of an ass. And Krishnamurti was not an ass. Yuji, he ugly. But yeah, Judah Krishnamurti was not an ass. He was a very humble human being that understood eternity better than most people because he was a focal point of people communicating on how to understand eternity when you're being manipulated eternally by selfish people. So he's an exceptional human being, okay, to the invention of human perception of rules. He stepped outside of those inventions and looked at creation and explained creation to the people that tried to invent their own perception of creation and replace it with their ego, right? And so the invention, hell is a human invention invented by people that want to replace the truth of creation with the manipulation of feeling powerful with their invention. And heaven is a humble understanding of the truth of creation, and then sharing the beauty of the truth of creation through be fruitful, multiply, holy covenant, yada, yada, yada. And so, just because the story has been corrupted by invention doesn't mean that the story is inherently corrupt. It means the people that invent their own perception of power and glory through first person and possessor pronouns have corrupted the story of the people of humble faith and the eternal, eternal faith of the essence of the truth of creation. So that's what's going on. This was good. I was last night, I was ready. I was ready. I was like, okay, here comes the attack. So I went to bed. Let's go, And I woke up because they were like, the videos you made yesterday, you said the whole thing about Malcolm X with the brushing your teeth. I was like, yeah, I know. I'm going to turn into the very thing I'm fighting. Yes, I am. What do you think? I'm going to get up in the morning and go, I love you, you little bastard. No, I'm not saying the people that I initially talked to. The people that I initially talked to and brought some of the other older thinkers in, those guys, I've gotten a lot more help and a lot more understanding, a lot more, I want to believe it helped me understand better so I can understand what I'm attempting to believe in. And you're talking about some of the some of the best scientific thinkers in the world. But the thing about it is when you become obsessed with manipulating matter and become a scientist, you're losing track of the origin of all things and the truth of creation of your existence. You're doing things because it's a contest or a challenge to see what you can do. It's like the whole thing with Crichton, with Goldblum on Jurassic Park. You're so busy asking yourself if you could, you don't ask yourself if you should. And most of them do ask yourself if they should. Okay, that's the most important question. Because if you shouldn't, okay, you can't do anything else in life. And some people, if I can't, what the big thing we get is if I can't fuck her, nobody can. And I got that the other day, and that really pissed me off. We can keep doing this for 1,000 years. You think that. And there are people that do think that. They think they can manipulate the masses by manipulating matter and using technology to continue to manipulate, that they can stay in positions of power indefinitely. Well, at least until a scientific boo-boo that they think happened in 2000 to 3000 for corporations to rule the world by not believing in somebody, but by getting to convince him that, I'm right and I'm wrong and they're right. And they realize, like, what's that guy's name, Benedict? Well, he's a man, he's not a god. It's like, well, yeah, of course we all know that he's a man and not a god. We know that from Islam, and we also know that from Christianity, because Jesus never claims to be Jehovah. Caesar and Pharaoh and Nebuchadnezzar, they all claim to be the divine offspring of the gods. And Jesus claims God's omniscient, omnipotent. So everybody's given life by God, and no one has the market cornered on us. He's the liberator from human delusions of divinity, of I'm God and the direct offspring of the gods. He's freedom from the tyranny of people turning God into a possessive pronoun first person and abusing of you with their invention and their perspective. He's gorgeous. Confucius and Krishna and Siddhartha are the same way, but they've also been corrupted by the scripts of invention to manipulate people with that delusion of possessive pronoun first person. Do you have faith in God above if the Bible tells you so? God's omniscient, omnipotent, and that's what the Bible tells you. And God above is not David Rockefeller or Philip Rothschild and the satellite fuckers. Okay, guys, I love you. All right, we'll talk later. Peace out.